Hey, what's up, everybody? Tracking some more severe weather. You can see it here on the GO 16. I'll zoom in a little closer for the latest satellite loop. We're looking at a enhanced satellite. You can see all of the energy moving across the Central Plains from west to east, and it's gaining momentum closer it gets to the Mississippi River. See that right in south central Missouri? There's been a tornado just within the last 15 minutes. Jumbo hail, 3.5 inches. There is some incredible atmospheric instability right now in southern Missouri. Look at that. This is the GO 16. Here's some hail reports, and this is by no means all of the hail reports. This is just some, probably a fraction of what's really came down. And you can see 2.5 inches is quite common through the area of Dodge, Grove, Zena. All of this is, again, in southern Missouri going into northeastern Kansas, southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, central Oklahoma, extending up into central Missouri, headed towards St. Louis, and then up into south central Illinois. It's going to be a busy evening up in this part of the country, and things are just now starting to really get picked up. See the energy map here showing the electromagnetic spectrum, the lightning. Over here at Windy, it's also showing a lot of lightning associated with these storms, and they're very, very tall. This is at windy.com, and Windy's usually not super jam-packed with lightning, and when there's a lot of lightning on here, you know there's a bunch. Windy's usually not that busy with lightning, but here we are at the radar. This would be the radar out of Springfield, Missouri. This is our location right now. We are in southwest, south central Missouri. There are other storms in the area, as you guys just saw over here at the GOES. Where are we at here? GO 16. And we're going to be moving around from this instrument and then back to this instrument here that I'm using, as these storms cover a massive area, multiple states, and we could see multiple events at the same time with regard to severe weather. You can see it's only getting larger in south central Missouri, and that's what we're following right here. And you can see the tornado icon. That would be in south central Missouri. We're going to read about that here in a minute. Multiple thunderstorm warnings, actually severe thunderstorm warnings, 1, 2, 3, 4, and expect more. That's just right now. I think it was this one here. That storm was well over 60,000 foot tall at one time. That's why we saw the incredible hail, 3.5 inch. I think it was this system right here. Severe thunderstorm warning expires in 30 minutes. National Weather Service out of Springfield, Missouri. At 5:08 p.m. Central Daylight Time, severe thunderstorm was located over Hartville, Missouri, or 18 miles northwest of Mountain Grove, moving at a staggering 55 miles per hour. Tennis ball size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. Unbelievable. Can you imagine solid tennis balls coming at you at 60 miles per hour, if not more? 2.5 inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds associated with that storm right there. Let's check out this one. I saw one earlier that showed 3.5 inch hail. This is another severe thunderstorm warning from National Weather Service, Springfield, Missouri. Same vitals. Tennis ball, 60-mile-an-hour winds. Now they just moved the tornado, so that may be on the ground. It's difficult at best to tell because it's moving so fast. There you go. You got a meso strength of 44.6, 2-inch hail. And I think just a minute ago that was carrying 3.5 inch hail. That same system right here. That again is in south central Missouri, moving towards the St. Louis area. All of these indicators here are hail of some dimension, whether it be quarter size, half inch, golf ball. We saw a tennis ball. There's 1.5 inch. And these are the ones that are just reported. These aren't even probably a fraction of what's actually occurred. Just another incredible line of thunderstorms. These things are moving at a very, very fast pace. They're moving at the speed limit of a 2-lane highway, 55 miles an hour, just south of Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, headed towards Edgar Springs, Salem, and they will be there with the quickness as these things are moving very, very fast. This one here, let's check and see if we can find that tornado. Could be rain wrapped. Let's see if we can find it. I don't really see it on there. Here we go. Let's look here. Yeah, I do see debris over here near Houston and Raymondville. That would be in Missouri. Yeah, it does look like there's debris out in front of the storm system that's headed towards Houston. All right. Houston, Raymondville, Houston, Missouri. I learned something new again today. I did not know there was Houston, Missouri. All right. I thought our only Houston was Texas. Moving towards a community called Licking, Raymondville, and Houston. And again, that's in Missouri, not Texas. This is an incredibly powerful storm. I would take cover if I was in that area. Interior room with no glass. Basements I know are pretty common up here in the Midwest. If you have a basement or a storm cellar, I know storm cellars out here in these rural areas used to be commonplace. I don't know if some of these farm communities still have them. They used to call them root cellars, storm cellars. Be a good idea. That's a very strong storm. Again, we are in south central Missouri. Incredible storms making their way up through the central plains. They just got cranked up good here about 30 minutes ago. Large hail, 3.5 inch at times. Tennis ball, very common, 2.5 inch in multiple places. And this storm here had a tornado vortex signature headed towards Houston, Missouri, Raymondville, Missouri, and Licking, Missouri. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that expires in 41 minutes. Very well could be extended. These storms are moving at around 55 miles per hour to the northeast. Just incredible. Let me go back to I want to look at something here real quick at windy.com. There's the lightning. These storms are loaded. I mean, loaded with lightning. Unreal. I wouldn't be outside in that. No way. That is loaded with lightning. Stay inside, guys, if you can at all help it. That is huge. And you can see the downdraft even on the Go 16. Those things got so tall they tipped over, or the tops dropped down to the ground. Watch this. You're going to see a big downdraft right here in southwestern Missouri, or southeastern Missouri. Right there. See that downdraft? Unreal. Storm reached over 65,000 feet tall right there just a few minutes ago. No longer has a tornado vortex in it right now. At least it's expired for the moment. Doesn't mean it won't come back, because these things are just getting started. And it could be a very active evening up here tonight. Very active. Severe thunderstorm warnings for the next 40 minutes. And we're in south central Missouri. And they've been leaving a big footprint through this area. Let me show you at hailreports.com. South of Joplin. Joplin's seen their share of tornadoes in the past. But there's a line of 2.5 inch hail in 1, 2, 3, 4 different communities, and multiple areas of 2, 1.75, very common through this area. And that large hail like that, especially that 2.5 inch, That hail can do a lot of damage, and that was associated with this storm right there. That storm reached up easily over 60,000 feet tall, and it's still got an incredible height to it right now. In fact, let's just see. It's probably in the 60, yeah, 65. Are you serious? Look at that. 62, 65. Starting to develop a bow. Boy, that is a strong storm. If you're in the area of Licking, Missouri, anywhere in south central Missouri, and these storms are headed towards St. Louis, which is a very densely populated area, you guys need to be on alert for these storms moving in at a very fast pace. 55 miles an hour. They're going to be there pretty quick. Headed towards St. Louis. Strong storms. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not multiple power outages in this area. In fact, let's look real quick. Go back over to the website and we go over here to the power outages map. It may not be any reported yet. Showing 1,600 without electricity right now in Missouri. And I wouldn't be surprised if that number didn't climb significantly, exponentially when it gets up around St. Louis. If it's still got these high winds and severe thunderstorms with possibly straight line winds and large hail, there definitely could be some more power outages. Absolutely. These storms are heading towards the St. Louis area at 55 miles per hour. The storm here, thunderstorm warning expires in 37 minutes. And that's starting to, well, it's kind of looking tornadic, but it's difficult to tell. There's a lot of activity going on right here, and they're moving very, very quickly. There's a lot of storms in this area. Missouri, moving into Illinois, parts of southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma. These storms are reaching way, way up into the atmosphere. A lot of atmospheric instability. I'll show you what we look for here real quick. Like you can see right here, the atmosphere is quite active at the mid-levels and the upper levels, and there's a very powerful jet going through there. In fact, let's look at, if I can find it, wind gusts. I don't see it here. Weather warnings. Yeah, this entire area is under a severe thunderstorm warning, quite possibly tornado. All right, now thunderstorm warning, thunderstorm watch for the next few hours. Go back to the radar. And the Ghost 16. Yeah, these storms are huge, covering multiple states. And yes, to answer our question, Lucinda, I'm going to do an update probably within the next day on space update. I'm going to do a thorough update on Comet Atlas. I might have something special in the works with Comet Atlas. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to go into any details yet because I haven't worked out any details, but I'm trying to put together something really, really cool with regard to Comet Atlas, so we'll have to wait and see. But yes, space debris. Look at that. Oh, that's the radar. Okay, that's the radar out of Springfield. That's what that is. That's the Doppler radar. I see what you're talking about. Somebody mentioned that beam coming out of the... See the radar right there? And you know why there's a black circle right there? Because it can't detect anything straight above the dome. There's a dome that sits right there. And it scans out 360 degrees away from the dome, but above the dome it can't scan. That's why it's black there. There's clouds up here, there's rain up there, but the radar doesn't detect it. That's why it's like that. The beam is just a digital anomaly. That's all that is. We've still got that storm there is looking more and more tornadic to me, but Let's look real quick. We see any debris? Yes. There's some debris out in front of that storm, but I don't know. If I was in the area of Raymondville, Houston, that's Missouri, south central Missouri, find an interior room with no glass. That storm's going to be in your neighborhood in less than 5 minutes. It's already starting to rain there, but this very severe part is moving in. It's very, very close. You guys need to take shelter if you're in this area. It's 10 miles away. Moving at 55 miles per hour. It's going to be there in about 5 minutes. So Houston, Missouri, Raymondville, Missouri. That thing's flexing too. That's a big shelf cloud out in front of that. That thing is flexing big time. So Houston, Missouri, Raymondville, Missouri. Interior room with no glass. It's a strong thunderstorm coming your way. Severe thunderstorm warning for this entire area for the next 30 minutes. And these storms are headed towards the St. Louis area at 55 miles per hour. They just updated the radar and the storm strengthened. And it's almost on Houston now. That storm has produced 3.5-inch hail. Back about 20 minutes ago, 3.5-inch hail, and had a tornado vortex at one time. Wow, that thing is incredibly tall. I think it's around 70,000 foot. It doesn't even sound right. 68. Look at that. Are you serious?
Yes, I'm not allowed to.
68,000. Big, tall storms. We're going to move up to the St. Louis area here in just a moment. Once this warning looks like it's going to expire. It's not going to expire for another 30 minutes, but I want to wait for this storm to get past Houston just in case it spawns another tornado. It's already spawned one. And 3.5-inch hail. 2 inches, very common with this storm right here. Ping pong ball size, tennis ball size. You get up into 3.5, I think we're looking at softball size hail. 3.5 or 4, I think, is in that neck of the woods. I think it's a little bigger than baseball. I mean, that's going to just totally destroy cars that are parked outside. Wow, Houston is right in the middle of this storm. That's Houston, Missouri. We are in south central Missouri, and we're going to go up to the St. Louis radar here in about 5 minutes. As these storms are approaching the St. Louis area. That's a very densely populated area. Expect power outages, high winds, large hail, and of course heavy rain. Everything on the menu associated with these storms here you're looking at. And they're starting to cover a wider area than they were earlier. The GO 16 is just overwhelmed with energy. And a lot of lightning associated with these storms. Incredible amounts of lightning. 2.75 hail. That was the latest reading from this storm right here. That's almost 3-inch hail. Unreal. And it's going right towards the community of Houston, Missouri. Every time I get on here, I learn a new name of a new state. I didn't know there was a Houston, Missouri until 10 minutes ago. Houston, Texas. Houston, Missouri. Small community in south central Missouri. That's right in the middle of a very fierce, severe thunderstorm that at one time produced a tornado, 3.5-inch hail. And it's no telling what it's doing now. You can't tell at this point by radar. You can get an idea, unless you've got spotters on the ground that are giving you real-time feedback. You can go based off of how large it is and what it's done in the last 15 or 20 minutes. But it's coming in on a community right now with an entirely fresh set of parameters. I mean, this thing could have increased to 4-inch hail. I'm not saying that it has, but it could have. Those are very tall cloud tops. Those echoes are near they're near 70 decibels. That's incredible. So that means that storm's got incredible updraft. And it can take the moisture well up into the very icy regions of the atmosphere and make very large hail that gravity is eventually going to win. Even if the wind speeds are 150 mile an hour upward, remember tornadoes pull up, hurricanes push down. And these things can have 150 mile per hour updrafts. That's where you get your 3.5 inch hail. So if it had 3.5 inch hail, it had 150 mile an hour updraft. And it very well still could. That's why you see the pink cloud tops. They're still walking tall. They haven't come down yet. Unreal. Houston, Missouri, Raymondville, Missouri, probably going to experience Cat 4-like conditions, Category 4 hurricane. Sideways rain, heavy winds. I don't even think hurricanes have hail. This thing here is a machine. Tennis ball size hail, 60 mile an hour winds. And these storms up here in the St. Louis area are starting to gain momentum. We're headed there next. Keeping a close eye on that storm right there, as it was a tornado producer 20 minutes ago. Back in the Hartville area, north of Norwood, there was a tornado in that area. I don't know if it touched the ground, but there was a tornado associated with this storm right here that we're watching that is now right on the Houston, Missouri area. And that's where we're at right now in the south central part of Missouri. And these storms are moving east-northeast at 55 miles per hour, right towards the St. Louis area, and that's where we're headed next. St. Louis, very densely populated area, strong storms en route. Wow, Houston is right in the middle of that storm. They feel like they're probably inside of a dishwasher. 2.75 hail, meso strength of 5805. They'll probably extend that storm, at least the storm warning, as that system is not losing any momentum at all. It's still a very strong thunderstorm. No tornado at the moment. Let's pull out wide and see if there's any. No. A lot of hail. Snow over in the Denver area. But I look for these storm warnings to start expanding up into the St. Louis area, into west central Missouri, west central Illinois, central Illinois, throughout the evening as these things move in the east-northeast direction. Probably into Indiana later on tonight. Probably in the next, couple hours or so? I mean, if they maintain this 55 mile an hour forward momentum, yeah, and they're growing. According to the GOES, these things are expanding over multiple states. Just starting to get going really good. But this storm here has been an overachiever. It's done tornadoes, done 3.5 inch hail, and torrential rainfall. And it's no telling what's going on right here. That's a very tall, strong storm. Really strong. It's bigger than some of the storms we saw the other day down in Alabama. At least aesthetically. I mean, that's up above 68,000 feet. That is crazy. We're going to hop up to see how it just extended up into the Raymond area. That forward motion. I don't see any intake. I don't see any rotation, but again, it's hard to tell. There's a lot going on right there. Very, very active. When you start to see the updraft coming in, counterclockwise updraft, then you pretty much know that there's a tornado there. Whether it's on the ground or not, it's impossible to tell from this perspective. Sometimes you can tell by looking at the correlation coefficient. Like I noticed the one in Mississippi the other day. That one was very, very wide, and you could tell it did make it to the ground because of the debris signature. If it hadn't made it to the ground, there wouldn't have been debris. So when you see debris up at the tops of these radars, then you know it touched down and picked up something off of the ground. Whether it's sheet metal off of a barn or shingles off of a house, I've actually seen that in the top of a storm that went over a dirt field, and it was a twister that looked like it was in slow motion. And it started picking up debris, carrying it up because tornadoes pull up, and the debris was rotating around the top of the tornado. Looked like it was in slow motion. That was a storm I chased for a few miles. It was on the ground for 17 miles. I think it was an EF3. But tornadoes pull up, hurricanes push down. Okay, they just moved the storm corral to the east. Did they update it? They didn't update it, but they did move this area back here, which is a very rural area, out of the severe thunderstorm warning as this system's moving very quickly to the east at 55 miles per hour. And it's still maintaining a very strong position over Houston, Missouri. And that's where we're at right now in south central Missouri, as severe thunderstorms have started to erupt in the Central Plains. Right now, this is the only area. Just a few minutes ago, we had 4, and we also had a tornado. Houston is probably experiencing Cat 4 hurricane conditions right now. Sideways rain, straight line winds. Then you throw in the hail component coming down sideways. They've been in it now for better part of close to 10 minutes, I think. Raymondville's in it very strong now as well. South central Missouri, Raymondville, and Houston, Missouri. And that is north and west of the Boot Heel. That's what they call this area here down by the New Madrid Fault Zone. The Boot Heel of Missouri. So they've got this up here. That's a test they ran because they know these storms. See that right there? It says test. Testing out the equipment. The storms are on the way. Licking, Missouri, getting a licking right now from that severe thunderstorm. Raymondville and Houston. Whoo! That storm is smoking. Holy cow. Look, that's got purple in there. It doesn't go any higher than that. Unreal. See if they've updated the... Yeah, look at that. Are you serious? Look, it's doing it again. Look. Check this out. Holy, look at that. 4-inch hail. Meso strength of 74. Wow, that is incredible. 4-inch hail right there. That is in the Houston, Missouri area. Unbelievable. That's doing damage to homes. 4-inch hail. And it's headed towards Raymondville. Oh my. 4-inch hail. Houston, Missouri. That doesn't happen very often. We see big hail from time to time, but 4-inch, that's a whole nother league. That's going to destroy automobiles. 4-inch right there, Houston, Missouri. And this is where we're at. South central Missouri. And you just saw the radar showed 4-inch hail in this area. Meso signature of 74. And that's just an incredibly tall storm. That's why the hail's so big. It's got 150 mile an hour updraft. It has to, or it wouldn't have been 4-inch. The stronger the updraft, the bigger the hail number. If it's small pea-size hail, then it's got about a 50 mile an hour updraft, maybe 60. Golf ball, 70, 75, 80. Tennis ball, baseball, you're talking 100. You get up into 4-inch, it has to be 150 mile an hour updraft or it's not going to get to 4-inch. That is incredible. And you don't see that very often. Wow. 4-inch hail, that's taking leaves and branches off of trees, damaging homes, damaging cars, obviously. Anything outside is going to be susceptible to damage with that type of hail. Just incredible. 4-inch hail. That is at least a softball size. Thank you, these here. And Paul Sanbria. Thank you, guys. I'm trying to I glance over at the chat every once in a while. If I don't get your question, I apologize. I'm trying to watch this radar, as this is a very major storm right here. 4-inch hail is not something we see every day. And I had a feeling these things were going to be overachievers because they're so tall. I mean, they are tall, tall storms. And when they're that tall, they have major updrafts, and that updraft can sometimes, not always, but sometimes produce exceptional hail like you just saw right there. 4-inch hail. Take a look at it again from that storm. That is not something you see every day, and I've only seen that maybe a handful of times on this particular instrument. Maybe a handful. I've seen 3.5, like right here. See 3.5? That's probably the 4th time I've seen 3.5 on here. 4, that's the first time I've seen it today. I have seen it before, but it's not very common. So big storms headed towards the St. Louis area. Houston, I'm sure there's probably major damage in that area. I don't know what the population is of Houston, Missouri, Raymondville, Missouri. But if they did indeed have 4-inch hail, like it's indicating, then there would be major damage, tree damage. Anything that was outside would be susceptible to damage unless it was made of brick. Anything that wasn't made of brick or stone, 4-inch hail is going to do a lot of damage. That's going to put dents in the ground. Incredible. We're going to come back to this storm here in a minute. I want to take a look at what's going on up in the St. Louis area. St. Charles, a lot of ground reflectivity on that particular radar. We're going to go to the KLSX, and you can see, here they come. Right now they're staying south of the St. Louis area, but that doesn't mean they can't move up into the St. Louis area. That's the general direction that they're heading. Sparta, St. Genevieve, Park Hills, Farmington, already reporting rain in Farmington. And now we're over in the St. Louis area, South Central and Southeastern Missouri. And we're still following this big storm here that produced 4-inch. Look at that thing. Are you serious? Let me hold on just a minute. What in the world? Wow. That is unreal. 76. 78. That's one of the highest I've ever seen. That's one of the highest I've ever seen right there, 78. That's basically 78,000. Unreal. Raymondville, about to experience a very exceptional storm. Probably something that you've never seen before. If you're in Raymondville, Missouri, there is a incredible storm headed your way. Raymondville, Missouri. Wow. They'll be talking about that storm there for a while. Yes, sirree. That is one overachiever. And that storm is still maintaining its strength. Look at that. It was way back here, just east of Hartville. In fact, if anything, it's gotten stronger. Yeah, Raymondville is experiencing something very unique right now in the weather world. That is a weather phenomena. That thing is up over 70, got 70,000 foot echoes at the top. Just unreal. Right now, all the energy looks like it's staying south for now. That could change very quickly as these storms are moving very quickly into the St. Louis area. Be interesting to see what they do when they get up in this area. Very densely populated. You can see the radar here shows that same dark circle like we just saw down in the Springfield, Missouri area. That is because the radar cannot see above its head. It can see around the radar 360 degrees, but not above it. So that's the St. Louis radar. This is the KLSX. And right now, St. Charles, where are we at? O'Fallon, Florissant, Overland, everything looks pretty good. What we're looking at here is just called base reflectivity, ground clutter. Storms are moving in though. Rolla, seeing some heavy rain. This storm here, after it gets past Raymondville, it's headed towards Bunker, Missouri, and southeastern Missouri. And it's not showing any signs of letting up. So Raymond, Missouri is wondering what happened still, as that storm is at an apex right now above Raymondville. It's no telling what's going on there. It's showing it again. It went from 4 to 3.5 back to 4-inch hail. Raymondville. So 4-inch hail in the Houston area, 4-inch hail in the Raymondville area. Right there it is again. That's twice in 20 minutes. And I don't think I've seen 4-inch hail on here a handful of times in all the months I've been using this. Now I've seen it twice in less than 10 minutes. So very exceptional storm in the Raymondville, Houston, Missouri areas. And these storms here are starting to gain some momentum that are headed towards St. Genevieve. See that line right there? That's a not necessarily a roll cloud, but a shelf cloud. And you guys take pictures of those shelf clouds and send them in to me. Well, that's what they're seeing right now. If they're looking to the southwest from St. Louis, there's a big shelf cloud right there. Very photogenic shelf cloud moving into the St. Louis area. Skies are probably very dark and look very ominous, I'm sure, but that's a large shelf cloud extending from St. Thomas all the way down to probably Old Appleton, St. Mary. It's a photogenic shelf cloud out there. That's got a quite a punch to it. Got some severe storms in the Bismarck area, headed towards Caledonia, Irondale. And these are right now, they're not showing anything super major. Half-inch size hail in the Bismarck area. Half-inch size hail over here between, let's see, south and west of Caledonia. Moving east-northeast towards Park Hill, Irondale, and Park Hills, Irondale, and Bismarck. In fact, Bismarck's in it right now. Very heavy rain, torrential rain at that. Storm here is one for the record books. I can assure you they're going to be talking about this storm for a long time in Raymondville and Houston. A long time. People in Houston are now in the clear. They're probably seeing blue skies, in fact, or it's, yeah, probably blue because the sun's not down yet. Picking up a 4-inch hail out of their yards. Unbelievable. So this line of storms is starting to get energetic. There's a lot of lightning associated with this storm. A lot of large hail, as we've seen. We'll get the hail reports later on this evening as they come in. But you got to keep in mind that the reports that we get, in fact, let's go see if they've updated the hail reports map. Because it should show 4-inch in the Houston area. See, it hasn't updated yet. 2.5. That's the storm we've been following by Hartville. Went over here into the Raymond area. Right here it is. See, they haven't reported yet. There's Houston and Raymondville. We've seen 4-inch hail in both of those areas. 4-inch. But again, sometimes they don't go reported. They extended that severe thunderstorm now east towards Bunker. What are they showing? They still got it at 4-inch. Now it's down to 3-inch hail. But they've extended the severe thunderstorm warning for another hour. They've got this thing tracking another full hour towards the east-northeast. I don't see anything severe just yet up in the St. Louis area, but it is moving that way. It's moving that way very, very quickly. This storm back here is just one that it's liking the atmosphere right now. That's all you can say. It likes the atmospheric conditions right in this area. Very, very suitable for severe thunderstorms. Luckily, we're not seeing anything tornadic, but it was at one time. But you can see how the severe component's moving to the north, right up in here, north of Licking. This storm here is getting stronger and stronger as it moves more and more to the east, slightly northeast. This storm here has maintained its strength for many, many miles and it's not showing any signs of letting up. That's just a tall, literally drink of water. The vertical integrated liquid in that, 100% in some areas. Just a wall of water walking through south central Missouri, carrying jumbo hail, 4-inch hail in some places that they're picking up off the ground back here in Houston. And Raymondville's now on the backside of this storm, probably wondering what just happened. Giant hailstones falling on their roofs. Unbelievable. Okay, now here's a storm exiting Rolla, and you can see the storm track has got it going up, actually west of St. Louis. That's the track of that storm system right there. So more than likely, St. Louis is going to see something from this system. Whether it's got a severe component or not, we'll have to wait and see. These things cycle and recycle, and this one down here hasn't even recycled yet. But this one's growing in strength. That's south and west of Salem, Missouri, just north and east of Licking. Very strong storm just went through there. I think that one had a hail component too. Yeah, 1 inch. Winds, or it's moving at 52 knots. This one's moving at 43 knots. This is the St. Louis area. DeSoto on the edge of some light rain right now, just showers. Nothing you haven't seen before. What just occurred down here in the Houston-Raymondville area, like I said, they'll be talking about that for quite some time. 4-inch hail multiple times. Like I said, 4-inch hail before it can even be a consideration has to be involved in a 150-mile-an-hour updraft, or it just will not happen. So it took that hail, or that moisture, up into some very, very lofty territory that was super cold, and that stuff got super cooled very, very quickly and turned into a 4-inch ball of ice that probably did all kinds of damage in that area. Unreal. So they've extended this storm for another 51 minutes. Let's get the details. Severe thunderstorm warning, National Weather Service out of Springfield, Missouri. Severe thunderstorm warning for south central Missouri, Dent County, Shannon County, and east central Texas County and south central Missouri until 7 p.m. Central Time. At 6:01, a severe thunderstorm was located over Raymondville, which we saw, and 8 miles east of Houston. We were watching that very storm, moving east at 45 miles an hour. Tennis ball size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. I think the hail may have gotten a little bigger, but we'll have to wait and see when the official reports come in from the people in that area. This is a dangerous storm. Prepare immediately for large, destructive hail capable of producing significant damage. Seek shelter and stay inside of a strong building, preferably an interior room with no glass. But that storm, they're calculating that it's going to maintain its strength for another 51 minutes. You can see the storm track going east of Centerville now. Unreal. And this one up here has gotten considerably stronger from what it was 15 minutes ago. And it's got a storm track for the next hour. Clear up to Bismarck and Caledonia in that area. Very strong storms. Farmington's getting some heavy rain right now, but it's going to exit about as quick as it got there. But the front side of that storm system's a pretty good sized shelf cloud moving into the St. Louis area. But right now, that's all I see as far as severe goes, but it's going to be like that off and on all evening long. So if you're in these areas, in the St. Louis area, south central Illinois, quite possibly over into parts of Indiana. It's just now starting to get going, and these are going to be nocturnal storms. They're going to be around for a while. A lot of times storms depend on the daytime heating, and then sometimes they don't. This depends on the atmospherics. And if you look at the GOES, where are we at? Just real quick. Go up here. Oh yeah, look at that. That's feisty right there. That's one big storm that is going to carry over into southern Illinois, especially more than likely southern Indiana. That's what we're watching right here. That's the main severe component, but the rest of it is very capable of doing the same thing, or at least close, anytime soon. I'm surprised it's not doing it right now, to be honest. I'm kind of surprised, but it's moving into the south central Illinois area. It will, looks like, impact, at least with heavy rain, parts of southern Indiana. That would be like the Princeton area, Evansville, Vincennes, Robinson, quite possibly even Terre Haute, Indiana. I've been to Terre Haute before, back when I was a little kid. Big strong storm headed towards Bunker, Missouri. Bunker, Missouri. It's not tornadic, but you never know. At one point, the storm was tornadic. It's not right now. It was packing 2 3/4 inch hail, moving at 43 knots to the east-northeast towards Bunker and Centerville. Raymondville and Houston are probably wondering what just happened, picking up 4-inch hail in some places. At least that's what this was telling us multiple times. Right now the storms are south of St. Louis, but they are moving in that general direction. The St. Louis area, south central Illinois, southern Indiana, over the next couple of hours. Some of these do contain severe components, and this one here has been a very incredible overachiever. It's starting to cycle down now. Look, it's losing some height. See what it's doing? It got so tall, it's going to come down very rapidly. Watch. See how it's going from the pink and purple down to red and orange? That means it's losing height. It's collapsing. So you're going to see a downdraft in the front of this storm. So it'll get very windy in Bunker and Centerville, because this storm is collapsing. So it'll get very windy up in here, and on the backside too, but mainly in the front. Might see some straight line winds in the Bunker area. Centerville's possible, but more than likely Bunker for sure. And whatever is out in this rural area right now between Raymondville and Bunker, it's very, very windy, because that storm is collapsing. But if it's anything like it was before, it's got the potential to recycle and go right back up into that 60,000, 70,000 foot range. Just incredible. I don't see that very often on here. Now, I use this all the time. That was a rare moment. Trust me. Those folks in Houston and Raymondville, they're going to be talking about that storm for a while. Oh, yes. That was a doozy for sure. Bismarck, Irondale, seeing some heavy rain. Bismarck's right on the edge of it. Irondale's getting some heavy to moderate showers moving into the Leadwood area. Bon Terre, Mineral Point, Potosi, Bloomsdale, St. Genevieve starting to see some rain. Rolla into some moderate to light rain right now. St. James, no severe components yet. But do not let your guard down with these storms. These are some overachievers if they want to be, or they could just very casually stroll through the area. It's entirely up to them, but the atmosphere right here is very conducive for severe thunderstorms. Very conducive, and it remains that way. In fact, I thought this thing was losing momentum, and it's recycling, it looks like, again. going up into the Salem area. That would be Salem, Missouri. That's where we're at, south central Missouri. Moving into the southeastern Missouri, north of the Boot Hill, New Madrid Fault Zone area. Salem, Missouri right now is getting some torrential rainfall, quite possibly some high winds, and they're reporting hail of 3/4 inch, 0.75. And that's in the area of Salem. It's a rural community in south central, southeastern Missouri. Fort Leonard Wood saw some moderate periods of heavy rain, maybe a little bit of wind, quite possibly some small hail. But the large hail was down around Raymondville and Houston, and of course other parts of south central Missouri, in the Springfield area, Fordland, Diggins, Seymour. I think a area called Hartville saw some large hail. Anywhere from 2 to 4 inch was common in this area associated with this storm. 4-inch hail. Unreal. So they're moving into, right now, the St. Louis area, starting to see some rain. That's a shelf cloud right there, or at least it used to be. It probably still has some components of a aesthetic shelf cloud that extends for several miles, but you can only see so much of it standing on the ground. But it's starting to get windy in this area. The area of St. Clair, Union, Festus, Waterloo, Oakville, Murphy, Eureka. Starting to get windy. And it's up to these storms what they want to do. They're going to become severe, or there's going to be moderate to light rain. The heavy components down here south of Salem. There's a report right there. Pea-size hail in Salem, Missouri. Down here they were reporting 2 1/4 inch hail right now. Moving east at 44 knots. East-northeast, 44 knots. That storm there has been on the ground for a long time. Dropped a lot of rain, a lot of big hail. But right now, that's the only severe game in town. Southwest of St. Louis. How far away is that? Let's take a quick peek. Damn, that's 100 miles south of St. Louis. All right. So that storm more than likely is not going to make it to the St. Louis area. It looks like it's going to stay just south and maybe east over into Belleville, quite possibly Centralia, Salem. Another Salem? Okay, we got Salem, Illinois. Could have swore, and we got Salem, Missouri. All right, look at that. Salem, Missouri. And the storm systems are moving towards Salem, Illinois. I didn't know we had so many communities with the same name in the United States. A lot of communities with the same name, very close to each other. All right, severe storm moving towards Bunker, Missouri. That would be south central, southeastern Missouri, north of the Boot Hill. Very strong storm. This was an overachiever that produced 4-inch hail and a twister. Heavy rain, high winds, everything on the menu right there at one time. Not necessarily right now. There's no tornado signature with this storm, but at one time there was. That's a very strong storm. Headed towards Bunker, Missouri. Centerville's in a track of that same storm, moving east-northeast at 44 knots. Headed towards Iron Mountain Lake. Just went through Salem, Missouri. Headed towards Salem, Illinois. Pilot Knob, that would be in Missouri. Fredericktown, Annapolis. We have an Annapolis, Missouri, and I think there's an Annapolis out on the East Coast, right? A lot of the same names. I didn't realize there were so many. But we got a big storm. Very unique storm that possibly dropped 4-inch hail in the Houston-Raymondville area multiple times, or at least in multiple places. Now they've extended this yet again, and I'm not surprised. This storm is like the Energizer Bunny. It has not let up. I mean, it's let up a little bit, but it keeps recycling. It goes up to these incredible heights, comes down, then goes right back up. So now it's very quickly ascending on Bunker or descending on Bunker. Centerville. It's getting very windy there. Now we're seeing some. See this right here? Watch. See that? That's intake. I might be seeing some intake right there. Intake's a sign of rotation. At least potential rotation. So, I don't know. Keep an eye on that right there, though. Let's see what this is calling for. Severe thunderstorm warning expires in 38 minutes. National Weather Service out of St. Louis, Missouri. Picked up a severe thunderstorm located 12 miles west of Bunker, moving east at a mere 50 miles per hour. 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and $50 size hail associated with this storm that we've been watching for a while, headed towards Bunker and Centerville. And that storm produced much bigger than $50 earlier back in the Houston area, Hartville. Same storm that was back by Hartville 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago. Same system. So these storms up here, the atmosphere, at least the mid-latitudes are slightly different. That's why these storms are not getting into the severe category just yet. I'm not saying that they will, but the area down here is very conducive for severe weather. But is that going to move to the north? I don't know. The storms are going to move north. That severe component may stay down here. I don't know. But the storms are definitely moving into the south central Illinois area, southern Indiana area over the next couple of hours. At the very least, you're going to see some heavy downpours, high winds, at least temporarily. But that's a long line of storms. It's got a very severe component down in the southwestern quadrant that's produced a lot of very large hail and heavy downpours, heavy rain associated with that too. I'm sure they've experienced a little bit of flash flooding at a minimum somewhere in that area. But they've extended the storm now for yet another 36 minutes. They just keep extending this thing to the east. And these up here are starting to gain some momentum. In the Leadington area, Park Hills, and that's on the ground for a long ways. Look at the storm track on that for an hour. Ellis Grove, St. Genevieve, Kaskaskia, St. Mary, Lithium, all of these areas are in line for a couple of rounds at least of heavy rain, quite possibly severe thunderstorms. That's all we see though right now. Being the Galesburg area, what are they doing? They're getting the radars ready just in case. The atmosphere is very conducive for at least heavy rain all through this area here. You can see that very large system extending all the way down into Mexico from the Canadian border practically, or at least northern Wisconsin, north central Wisconsin. And all of this energy is moving to the east-northeast tonight. So you might have some nocturnal activity tonight. And you guys know the drill. If there's any chance of tornadoes at night, make sure you have your alert system on, whether it be your phone. Have an app that can alert you for your local weather in case there's an uptick in tornadic activity. This one right here that we've been watching for quite some time had a tornado in it at one time. Whether it touched the ground or not, I don't know. It's difficult to tell because there was so much activity going on in there. But these storms are going to be in the area of the Central Plains all evening, especially in southern Illinois, south central Missouri, Indiana, off and on throughout the evening. You can expect some heavy downpours, high winds, some hail of various sizes. I don't see any more of that 4-inch right now, but that doesn't mean it can't come back. Now it's down to 1.75. So this storm system is starting to weaken some, even though they've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for this area. Centerville and Bunker, that's in Missouri for the next 34 minutes. And they'll probably extend it further. That's the only one that we see right now. That storm was a big-time overachiever. And the fine folks of Houston and Raymondville, Missouri will be talking about that storm for many days to come, if it did indeed produce the 4-inch hail that it said that it was capable of producing. And I would not doubt it one bit, based off of the signatures that I saw on here. Unreal. In fact, I want to check that one more time. Yeah, it's still well up above 60. So it's got the capability. It's got the horsepower to produce very large hail, even right now. Even though it's been doing it for the last several minutes. Bunker could be in for some large hail. It just depends. Don't know. They've extended the storm track now even further. Iron Mountain Lake is now in the storm track of some severe weather, moving that direction. And it's starting to get closer and closer to the St. Louis metro area. Areas of Afton, Eureka, Oakville. This is all a very densely populated area. Been up in here many times. And every time I drive up in here, even, well, I haven't been up there in a while, but before GPS, these roads, it was very easy to get lost. Let's just put it that way. Kind of like Chevy Chase. What was it? Vegas? Not Christmas Vacation or something. He got lost in St. Louis. It's easy to do. It really is. These storms here are starting to pick up a little steam, but I don't see any other severe components other than some heavy rain headed into the St. Louis area. Light to moderate in places, some areas heavy, and not anything that they haven't seen before. But there was a tornado in this cell down here, and that is a very strong cell. In fact, it's kind of a cell on steroids. It has not let up much at all. It's shrunken in size, but it still has that central core that's up into the 60,000 range. It's just unreal. The duration of that storm, the central core, is very, very strong. Headed towards Bunker and Centerville, Missouri right now, but not any of the 4-inch stuff. The 4-inch stuff I haven't seen in a little while. But guys, it looks like it's toning down some. I don't see any more tornado signatures. I saw the one tornado signature down here by Hartville, and that's why we hopped on. Anytime I see the tornado on here, I will come on, if I'm at my desk and I'm able to, because I keep a close eye on this. So the heavy rain, a little bit of wind, we've all experienced that. The tornadoes, any extra heads up we can give anybody, if it makes a difference in one person's day, it was time well spent. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off here for now. Just remember, anywhere in the Central Plains, you could see at least some kind of weather tonight, whether it be rain or the severe end of the spectrum, especially in southern Missouri, southern Illinois, and parts of southern Indiana. Thanks for watching. Have a super day, and be safe out there.